How old were you when you had Lucio?
How old was I?
When you had him?
18, I think.
You're 18?
Yeah, and my husband.
How old were you when you got married?
17.
Because you had Beatrice too, right?
Oh, tell her about when your dad was going to shoot him, your husband.
No, he gave Grandma a black eye.
Who?
Your dad.
Oh, that's when I said yes, that I wanted to.
Tell her the story. Tell my mom the story.
Well, I don't know what happened, but anyway, when I was working at the laundry, so then I would walk, to the laundry in the morning. So one of the times, Beatrice was my friend. Now that's Lucio's sister. So he says, pick her up because she's going to work. So they started, picking me up in the morning. They had a store, and I had to go in front of him. So one of the times, he came, Lucio by himself. So he was going to give me a ride. And now when St. Joseph's Church is, he started going that way. So I got up and I was going to jump down. And he said, what are you going to do? I said, I don't know when the heck you're going to take me. So I was going to jump down. But anyway, it so happened, he said, I'm going to go ask for your hand in marriage Saturday. And I said, you better not, I said, because my dad's got a gun and anybody that's around the house, he takes a gun out. So we went in there, and then Lucio called me. My dad called me to the kitchen and said, this so-and-so, I don't know who he is. He thinks I'm raising daughters to give away because he was from Mexico. We were from New Mexico. She said, well, you go in there. And he says, tomorrow we're sending you to California with a godfather. And tell him that within a month you'll answer. In the meantime, you'll be gone. So then when I went into where they were, and this other man that came with him says, well, señorita, your dad says that whatever you want. And I said, yes, I want to get married in front of everybody. So when I went back there, he gave me a good black. So then my uncle, my dad's brother, took me to his house. I had to stay at his house until I got married.
What did he call him?
What
did he call him?
Call whom?
What did your dad call Lucio?
Asurumato.
Asurumato?
That's a Mexican. From Mexico. Surumato. I don't know what that I don't call him anymore. But in those days, they didn't like the people coming from Mexico because they would work for less money. So our Mexicans from New Mexico couldn't stand them.
Yeah.
For that reason. It was funny. It was really funny.
She left out the part about jumping out of his truck, though.
No, she said that.
Did she?
She was going to turn at St. Joseph's Church, and she stood up in the car and was going to jump out of it. Because she didn't know where that guy was taking her. Lucio.
My dad.
See, she didn't say that, did she?
Yeah, she did. Because Lucio was taking her, he wasn't taking her home, he was taking her someplace else. And so she didn't know where he was taking her, so she's going to jump out of the car. Is that right?
I was going to jump out of the truck.
You didn't trust her?
Well,
but she was
supposed to take me to work. What business did he have taking me that way?
I was going to leave her.
And the thing is, he used to be a playboy. He didn't trust anybody. Since then, I guess he trusted me. And my father-in-law. After we got married, he went in there crying and gave me a big hug. Oh, he said, I am so happy that so-and-so is getting married. He's driving me crazy. God bless his soul.
Now, did Lucio's dad own a store?
Huh?
Lucio's dad, did he own a store?
Was he what?
Did he own a store? Lucio's father.
Lucio's dad.
They all owned a big store. That was the only store on the other side after Grandpa Ceballos went to Mexico, then we opened up our store afterwards. It was so funny. And when we had our marriage, it lasted 2 days with music. The violin and all the stuff, the accordion and whatever.
Did you get married at St. Joseph's Church?
Yeah. Yes. And then Lucio had a stepmother. When Papa Cipriano went to El Paso, he had a seamstress, is that what you call it? The one that made clothes.
Yeah, seamstress.
Okay. because in those days were the flapper days.
Oh.
The dresses were short and no sleeves. And my mother said, I don't want any dress bought, you know. She has to have long sleeve and long enough. So this lady made my wedding dress. So Papa Cipriano fell in love with the lady and married her. It was so funny. But anyway, I don't know. And then my wedding dress and my white shoes and everything, I left them home. So my sisters wore them up. I thought my mother was going to keep them from me, veil and everything. But my sisters wore everything out.
Wore it?
Yes, when I asked for them to put them away, she said, well, the girls are already wore the dress and the shoes and all that
Oh
stuff.
my God.
Oh, they didn't have any. So I guess it's all right.
Where would you wear a wedding dress to?
And when I started working at the laundry, I used to get $12 a week. Work from 8 to 4. But we could get a pair of shoes for $2.98, high heels. So, didn't make any difference. But, I don't know.
Yeah, $12 was probably a lot of money back then.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. A lot of money at those things. And now
Money meant
$12
nothing to my
doesn't buy
mother.
anything.
Were you the oldest in your family?
No.
I thought, yeah.
Now, what were your grandparents' names?
My grandparents,
Mm-hmm.
oh my gosh. My mother's,
It was
I
like
know.
my mother.
What
Was like lamb in Spanish.
Abuela.
What is-
Cordero.
Huh?
Abuela.
Cordero.
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 Cordero, yeah. And your lamb. Cordero means lamb.
And her mother's maiden name was Cordero.
And that means
And my
lamb.
mother's name was Lamb.
The Lamb of God that takes the sins of the world from, I don't know what it is. It's Cordero. It's lamb.
What was her first name?
Joseph, huh?
Sophia.
Your mother's name?
My mother's name was Sophia, and my father's name was Felipe Cordero. And on the other side, there's
Castro.
Castro and Padilla. And I forgot the name of their name, of the persons. Castro.
Fidel.
And I used to say that we used to have in Phoenix, who was a Castro? What was he? Governor or what? In Phoenix. And I
Yeah.
used to say he was my cousin, but not the one that was in Cuba. that was no relation of mine.
That's like I used to tell everybody I was related to George Patton. Because I was a Patton. I wish I had some of his money.
We were related to Pancho Villa.
No, we were not.
Grandma, he tells his kids he was related to Pancho
We
Villa.
were too. He
Mexico,
was a
they
cousin
had-
of my grandfather's.
In Mexico, they had
She says no.
which is a big house, you know, with fence. And right next door, was Pancho Villa's home.
Mm-hmm.
So
He
they
was
were
a cousin of my grandfather.
But he was a next door neighbor, he wasn't a cousin.
So he was a neighbor-in-law?
Grandfather.
Thought he was married to one of the cousins or something.
Huh?
I thought Eddie thinks Pancho Villa was married to one of the cousins.
Maybe. They were neighbors. There was a hacienda, you know, one.
So is that why you guys moved out of the neighborhood?
What? Is that why you moved? Because of Pancho Villa?
It's probably noisy over there with all the gunfire all the time.
No, when did Pancho Villa take off? It was right before World War I, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's when they went down to the border and had all that trouble.
So Grandma's family was already here.
No, my family was from New Mexico,
Yeah.
and Lucius was from Old Mexico.
So who lived next door to Pancho Villa? Lucio's family?
Lucius family.
They were cousins. My dad tells me they used to go up into the mountains and play in these big chests full of gold that Pancho Villa had.
Well, where are they?
Well, they happened to have been against the federal government in Mexico. And the federal government broke everybody, stole all the money and everything. So if my grandfathers hadn't been siding with Pancho Villa, we'd be well off.
You wouldn't be here because of they were well off, they probably never would have come to New Mexico, and Lucio probably never would have found Grandma.
No, my father would have found my mother anyway.
Eddie, you didn't put the hose away.